Okay, we're good. We're good. Sorry, it's a little bit of a learning curve, but
No worries. Thanks for agreeing to do it virtually. Sorry we couldn't do it in person.
no, it's all right. We'll do it. We'll do it eventually. But
Yeah,
this is a
definitely.
good start.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm here with Anthony Ferraro, um, American Team USA Paralympic judo guitarist. I saw online that you're also a guitarist.
Yep.
Motivational speaker, TikTok sensation. How are we feeling today?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Um, so the first question, so our platform, we're obviously a sports media platform. The first question that we always ask our podcast guests is, we ask them about their athletic journeys from the first day, from the first time they ever started playing sports all the way until today. So, tell me about your athletic journey.
Sounds good. So I started wrestling in about seventh grade. Is when I was born blind, and I grew up going. I live in Spring Lake, New Jersey, this little beach town. And I grew up going to a school for the blind in Philly until seventh grade. I transferred to the public school. And at that time, I was like this little chubby blind kid and needed to figure something out. So I found wrestling through my older brother, who was real good. And then my dad was also a wrestler. And I remember being like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to win every match. It's like, I'm going to crush it.
Yeah,
And my first year, I ended up going like 2-12, where one of my wins was just a forfeit, where you go and get your hand raised.
yeah,
So it did not go to plan. But I remember leaving like the last match of that season and like being pretty bummed and wanting to get better. Like I was like I need to get better at this. I want to not be so mediocre. And like with any sport, you got to do the extra work. So I found a wrestling club and I started going 4 nights a week and going to tournaments every single weekend. And it was pretty bad. Like I was working so hard, but every tournament I couldn't even not only win a match, I couldn't even score a point.
yeah,
So it was pretty demoralizing, but I like knew I loved it. Like I loved the hard work. I loved, getting out of practice where you could barely move. Like I just fell in love with all the training. And I switched my goal to trying to just score a point. And then one day I finally scored a point in an off-season tournament in the summer going into 8th grade, and like that really boosted my confidence because it was one of my goals. And then I started scoring more points, started winning matches, and then I finally won a tournament and like couldn't believe it. I was like, oh man, this is really working out. Like I can't believe I'm here now. And 8th grade, I ended up going undefeated and winning like the whole championship and everything. Um, Fast forward, I was supposed to go to a high school that both my older brothers went to, and I had a handwritten letter of acceptance in seventh grade that they were going to get my books brailled and all this stuff.
yeah.
And in 8th grade, the president who wrote that letter passed away, and I got a phone call and a letter saying Anthony's no longer accepted to this school. We don't want to have to provide for him academically or environmentally, all this stuff. And it was like super, super traumatic. Like 13 years old, you're just trying to be a kid and
Yeah.
not being able to go somewhere because it's something you can't control. And then I just decided to put all my like frustration into wrestling. I just like I said, I fell in love with the training. And in high school, I ended up going like I won 122 matches. I won a few championships and uh, I did pretty well as a captain for 3 years and stuff like that. And then there was a documentary done about my senior year, following me around and dealing with life and wrestling. And I was the only blind wrestler really at the time. What we had to do was the adaptation in the sport was just constant contact. So you start with your two hands touching, and then if you broke away, the referee would blow the whistle and bring us back to the center.
Yep.
And people started like once I started getting pretty good, people started saying I had an unfair advantage, and saying some people even went as far as like saying I was faking my blindness to get an unfair advantage in wrestling.
That's crazy for like that's just I don't know. That's crazy to me that somebody would even say that, but
Dude, it's nuts. It's kind of like anything though. If you get good in anything, people are always there's always gonna be like haters.
yeah.
And fast forward through the filming and stuff, it got put on the shelf for 2 years, and then I graduated 2013 from high school, and then 2015, the film started getting put together, and the trailer went pretty viral on like a bunch of platforms, and then someone who saw the film was the United States Olympic Committee, and they were like very impressed with the athletic ability and all this stuff. And unfortunately, wrestling is no longer in the Paralympics, which is
Yep.
crazy. But they said, "Would you consider training judo?" It's like the closest thing, and the only disability in Paralympic judo is visual impairment. And I took it up right away. Like started training like crazy, putting all those like lessons and discipline I learned from wrestling into my judo. And 3 years later, I was like #1 in the country, and right now I'm like top 20 in the world or something like that. So
Yeah.
trying to make it to 2024 games in Paris, and I was really close to making it to Tokyo, but two competitions before the Olympics, I tore my groin like 2 days before the competition, and
Yeah.
I was out for like 8 months basically. So nothing really happened there. So I'm just training. I also do skateboarding competitively. Do a lot of skateboarding, so that's another one of my sports, and just I love training. I actually love training more than I like competing in
Yeah.
everything. So
You can get a lot of satisfaction out of training, like more so than competing because training is so consistent in competitions. Like, I mean, when it comes to a sport like wrestling, the competition is more frequent than like sport like football, where it's like once a week.
yeah, it's especially in high school, but now with judo, it's like there's months apart, but people are addicted to like the winning. Like
Yeah.
they say there's no feeling like winning. To me, there's no feeling like training and just like grinding in the room, It's like I don't know, maybe that's what's wrong with me, but
Yeah. You
I
sound very similar to Hampton. I mean, when I talked to Hampton, that was kind of who connected us. He says the same thing. He's like, if I'm not crawling off the mat, I didn't do enough.
exactly, it's kind of how I feel.
Yeah. So you talk a little bit about skateboarding. When did you start skateboarding? Like, how seriously do you take skateboarding as compared to like your other pursuits? Because I've heard you talk a little bit about skateboarding in some of your content, but
Yeah, I I'd say skateboarding is probably my favorite. It's like my biggest joy that I do out of sports. Like I just love it. It's like a therapy to me. Um, because you're competing against your like you do compete against other people, but you're really competing against yourself, which I like. It's like
yeah,
I want to do better than last time, like my runs and stuff. I got into skate. I was always been around skateboarding since I was a kid. Like my brothers did it, and I used to just roll around to be around them. And then I used to like skate a lot on mini ramps, like small half pipes, and because it was easy to memorize the layout and just like go back and forth and stuff.
yeah,
But I wasn't doing that much. And then about yeah, I guess 3 years ago now, um, I met up with all these blind skateboarders in Michigan, and I like got to learn a lot from them. Like some of them were, my like heroes that online and stuff that I'd follow, and um, it was really awesome experience. They taught me how to use my cane when I'm skateboarding and like be able to grind ledges and do different things, and I kind of just fell in love with it from that point on. And the past 3 years, been doing it pretty heavily. Like I'm fortunate enough to be on like the flow team for Vans. They send me shoes and stuff, and then like this company Alien Workshop, skateboard company, they'll send me decks, and just really love skateboarding, man. It's really awesome because the with like fighting and grappling, it's kind of like a very one type of person, like a type of um I mean, I don't mean to generalize, but it is a lot of the same, people, just grappling, wrestle, like that's their whole life basically. And with skateboarding, you get the adversity is crazy, and you meet so many different types of people, and everyone's accepted, and it's really cool. A big family vibe.
yeah. I've never personally gotten into skateboarding, but like I've watched like movies and stuff, and it just seems like there's such a great community around skateboarding with like I don't know, you just like the stereotypical skateboarder seems like a cool dude, you know?
Yeah, it's fun. It's very it used to be a lot more like kind of clicky, I'd say, but now it's like everyone, like the women's skateboarding is incredible. There's, adaptive divisions that I skate in, like with there's people that skate in wheelchairs, there's people that do it with like one arm or, one leg. It's crazy to see how people, adapt and figure it out and how supportive everyone around them is.
Yeah, definitely. And then so you talked about your transition from wrestling to judo. See, I'm not very familiar with the sport of judo, but like what were like the major differences and changes that you kind of had to go through both like mentally and physically to adapt to the sport?
Yeah, big difference was learning like chokes and arm bars and
Okay.
stuff like that, like submission holds. Um, are you familiar with Greco wrestling at all? Like Greco-Roman?
A little bit. Like I wrestled for 2 years in high school. I think that was just like what was that like probably folk style if I was wrestling in.
Yeah, folk style. So Greco-Roman is like it's one of the Olympic styles. It's a lot of like you can't attack the legs with your hands really. You can only attack them with your legs, and then it's a lot of like upper body like throws and different things like that. So
Yep.
I was fortunate enough to like I loved Greco, and I was on like the New Jersey team for the national duels and went all American and all this stuff. So I was fortunate enough to like have that in my toolbox, I guess you'd say.
Yep.
And it really translated well. Like I kind of call it judo wrestling with a jacket on, and you kind of figure everything else out. You kind of learning the falls and different throws was a little difficult, like how to move and stuff, but it all translated pretty well and was able to adapt pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And so, yeah, that just seems like I don't know, it seems like a lot of the grappling sports are like just very similar, like jujitsu, wrestling. I'd say like the big difference with like jujitsu and wrestling is wrestling you never want to be on your back, and then jujitsu it's like good to be on your back, and
Yeah.
those are the big like cues that have like messed me personally up. I'm sure that there are some like big cues that you learned from wrestling that you're like, oh, this is not, I can't be in this position when I'm
That's a
doing
good point. I definitely hated being on my back in the beginning. It was a weird feeling.
it. It is. It's like,
You're like, I'm not supposed to be here.
yeah, exactly.
So that was definitely one translation that was hard. But then I also do jujitsu to help with the ground game for judo, so it's really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. And so, do you have a coach that kind of, because I'm sure that going into, like, did you play sports before you started wrestling in seventh grade?
I used to like do soccer and uh mostly soccer when I was a kid, but then like I had some vision, and then I started realizing once it got to like more competitively, it was pretty impossible.
Yeah.
So I was kind of I mean, I grew up at the beach like surfing and skateboarding and stuff, and I was more like doing that type of stuff until I found wrestling. I was pretty out of shape, and uh I used to like go to school and then come home and sit in front of the TV and eat cheese doodles.
Yeah. It's all right.
And
We've all been there. I was
yeah,
there.
my brothers were like, "You got to do something, man. Like you're already blind. You can't be chubby and blind."
Yeah.
Or just
Were you
unmotivated.
nervous to kind of get back into like I mean wrestling like to go from not playing any sports to wrestling like did you always have that element of like physicality growing up with brothers and stuff like you guys always kind of have that level of competition?
Yeah, I've always been around wrestling because of my brother, so like there was that, and we used to like they used to beat me up when I was a kid, and so I definitely right away like it was kind of a no-brainer once I got into it. I was like I really liked it a lot, the whole competitive part, the whole train. It was really the training for me. It was like getting in shape. Like transforming your body was the coolest thing ever. Like seeing yourself go from like, you know, out of shape and whatever to like, having back muscles and like pit stains from working so hard. Like that stuff was all like it was new to me. So I always fall in love with like challenges too. I love a challenge. So having that whole like mountain to climb in front of you of just learning and getting better at something is a real thrill to me.
Definitely, definitely. Did you have like a coach that kind of helped you make that adaptation? Because you talk about going from seventh grade, going what I think you said 2-12, to going undefeated in, as an eighth grader. Like you had to have had a coach or maybe some help from your brothers, and I know you said your father was big into wrestling too. Did you have a coach that kind of helped you take that jump?
Yeah, this guy Mike Melanconico, who ran the club that I went to, he worked with me beyond belief. Like he would, instead of showing the moves to me, he would do the move on me so I could feel it. And we really developed a style that worked in my favor. Like instead of being like slick and like pretty type stuff, we had to be real like physical and hand fight, and it was just real like aggressive, kind of scrappy. And he really worked with me countless hours, from seventh grade on to become the wrestler I became. So I really owe a lot to him. He kind of helped my whole, the mental aspect too. And he was just a great guy who uh, I'm still in touch with today.
Yeah. Have you kind of, so I know that now that you're a little bit older, you're obviously still competing, but have you had the opportunity to kind of coach any other younger athletes, possibly even visually impaired athletes? Like, have you had that connection with like younger visually impaired athletes?
Not in wrestling, not with visually impaired athletes, but I have, had many opportunities to do like wrestling clinics and different things like that. Like I've actually been to I met Hampton through doing a clinic at their school, and it was really awesome. I love getting to like teach and like especially people that want to learn. That's the obviously the best people to teach, but
Yeah.
it's really rewarding and it feels good to be able to share like the knowledge you have.
Yeah, definitely. So are there like major communities of like visually impaired athletes in the sport of wrestling, or do you feel like it's just kind of like a very, very small um like kind of community or
I think it's a pretty small community. They're very scattered throughout like the country. If maybe there's a handful, and then there's like also schools for the blind that have wrestling programs, but they also a lot of them are paired with other disabilities.
yeah,
So it's like mental or whatever my physical disabilities. The average blind person is not going I might be wrong here, but at least when I was growing up, the average blind person was not like really advanced, like trying to become super advanced in the mainstream sports, like
yeah,
there's other sports for the blind and stuff, but the because it's such a brutal world, man. Like I had to go through so much stuff of people like there would be crowds booing me because they thought I was faking it, like all different types of things. It's pretty
yeah.
tough.
But like even if you were like I don't like see I we talked about that earlier. Like I don't get that. Like even if you were faking it, like you're still beating the kid. Like regardless of whether or not you could see, you're still beating the kid.
Yeah, and it was really they complained about the rules, like the having to stay in contact. People thought that was unfair and stuff like that, which, is if we break contact, I have no idea where you are. So
Yeah.
it's pretty it's crazy. I think with anything though, like blind or not, if you get good at something, people want to bring you down, like I said earlier. So it happens to everyone. It's just a part of life and sports, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Especially at that time, it's like you're just trying to be a kid, man, and like fit in and just wrestle, and you have to deal with so much other like political BS.
Yeah, and it seems like in this scenario, like, and especially in sports, they seem to attack a competitor where they're at like their weakest or like where they're kind of vulnerable. Like to
Exactly.
attack you and say that you're faking. Like that's just like that's all. It's almost comical to me to, that like people would say that about an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old just trying to compete and like have fun put
Yeah,
on for his
I was
family?
when I was 13 in eighth grade, I forget if you're 13 or 14, but like however old you are in eighth grade, I was in the championship match, like the last match of the year, and I was losing 13-0 with like 45 seconds left, and I ended up throwing the kid to his back and pinning him, and no one complained at all during the match. The kid even shook my hand like a gentleman after, and we walked off. And the dad came over to my dad. This is the first time I ever experienced it. The dad came over to my dad and was like, "It's unfair to my kid that he has to stay in contact with your kid. Your son doesn't belong in this sport. He should go do something else. This is a waste of time. It's just not fair. He has an unfair advantage." And that was like a real shock to me. And then it never stopped. It kind of just progressed through high school and stuff like that. So that was the first time I really experienced that, and it was like, dude, come on, man. You have no idea how hard I just worked all year to
Yeah.
get to where I'm at. Like this doesn't just happen like out of luck, you know? Some
Yeah.
people are naturally gifted, but I had to work really hard to even, like I said, score a point in the beginning.
Yeah. And then, I mean, how did you kind of deal with, like you said, that criticism, and that it seems like it was a common theme where people would say you were like faking it, or he's like, oh, like I don't know, like how did you kind of deal with that mentally? Like what did you how did you I don't know, I feel like that'd be very difficult to.
At first, like it was really hard to deal with because it would bother me so much. You know, it felt like they were trying to take away all the hard work I've put into it, and mentally it really like messed with me to the point but then I finally got to a point in high school where I kind of just laugh about it with my family, like the people are just crazy, but it always affected me. Like I would hear other coaches saying stuff during my match, and like that would get me frustrated. Everyone would try to get in my head because they knew it was possible.
Yeah.
So that was kind of one of the ways that people used against me, was just getting in my head. So I think an important lesson learned from it was you really have to block all that stuff out, or
Yeah.
else you're gonna bring it to your day-to-day life, and it's just not healthy.
Yeah, definitely. And then have you faced like, do you continue to face the same criticism, or is it kind of like a immature, like younger, like high school type of thing? Or do you continue to face this? Like,
I think it was a little immature. I mean, there's always people like nowadays, like that I'm on social media and stuff. There's people every day saying I'm faking my blindness to get
yeah.
followers. People are like, "Well, if you're blind, how do you're looking at the camera perfectly?" And it's like, dude, my wife just told me where she was, so I'm
Yeah.
just looking over there. Just different things like that. Like, no matter what you do in life, if you like, I hate to sound like a broken record, but no matter what you're doing, if you're getting big at something or good at something, there's always those people trying to really discredit you, or that are just jealous or hurting them, like they're hurt themselves and they're trying to hurt other people. So e- I think as I got older, it was a lot easier to deal with those types of things, but
Yeah.
it's never going to stop no matter what you're doing. But
So,
with sports, I don't experience it anymore because I'm doing the Paralympic judo now, so it's like it's against other blind people, so it's pretty good.
yeah. So do you like, okay, so I guess this is kind of like the reverse of people accusing you of not being blind, but like, do you have to go through like a test to like go into the Paralympics? Like, do you have to go through like a visual test so that
Yeah,
you,
absolutely. They have it's called classifications, and they have like really good doctors and eye doctors and stuff that you have to go through this whole thing for them to classify your blindness. But about 2 years ago, they reclassified everything because they got like a better criteria system or something, and there was about a couple hundred people from other countries and stuff that classed out because they could see too well and they were kind of like faking it.
yeah,
So it's crazy, like it it
yeah.
never ends.
It must suck to like be like right on that cutoff, be like, shit, I still like I can't see, like I can't go compete in like regular wrestling, like I can't see, but I'm not blind enough to go compete.
No, a lot of them were faking blindness.
Like actually like
Yeah,
completely.
no, like actually faking it. Like they would say they were a lot blinder than they were, and some of them could even drive. Like it was wild.
Yeah. They can
It's
make a
it's
documentary about that. Like they
I
can,
know.
yeah,
I think it would hurt the organization a little. That's why they wouldn't do it.
yeah,
But it's definitely, I agree. It's wild.
yeah.
I can't believe people, and it's not just the people. It's like the coaches and the country. Like they're sending those people knowing that, and just to get medals.
It's that's this is
Like there's a guy
ridiculous.
that was on the U.S. team that got third in the Paralympics, got a bronze medal and everything, and he drives for Uber now.
Jesus.
I know.
There's something to be said. There's honestly something to be said too. If you're not blind and then you go compete against someone who's blind in the Paralympics and you don't win, like come on, like there's something to be said about that. Like I don't know. It's just it seems to be all messed up that
Yeah, some of these blind guys are ruthless though. They're freaking. They've been doing judo since they could walk, and they're nasty. Like
yeah,
they they could probably make noise in the regular Olympics.
yeah. Have you had like anybody like have you heard anybody talk about kind of being like taking that step from the Paralympics to the regular Olympics?
No, I have not. I imagine like the people that classed out are trying to compete in the Olympics now.
Yeah.
Oh, there are people that there's like there's a guy from like Azerbaijan who wins a lot of he does Paralympic and then does like regular tournaments as well, and he wins a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna kind of transition into so you have this kind of community that you built, ASF Vision. Could you tell me a little bit like about what that means and like what it kind of stands for? Because I feel like it's more than just a username, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really a community like so I the reason I started it was because during when the pandemic hit and it was same time as like the election and stuff. I was scrolling through like Facebook and all these people were like just bashing each other like just beyond belief. Like it was making me sick, the negativity online and stuff and just like really everyone just fighting with everyone and being real divided. And uh I really wanted to like reach people and like just kind of spread like positivity and when the pandemic was happening, like everything stopped, like judo wasn't happening, all this stuff, and um, moved from Brooklyn down to back to Jersey where I grew up. We got an apartment here with my wife, and I wanted to like, I was like, I want to reach people. I want to like make people smile in this crazy time, and I was playing a lot of music at the time. So I would live stream like playing guitar on Facebook and singing and trying to just make people happy for however long it was. And I was like, well, we should take this on the road. And my wife and I decided to go on a 7 week cross country road trip, like 10,000 miles.
Yeah.
And we set up in all these like locations, like remote locations with like beautiful backdrops and live streamed it to Facebook. And it was pretty positive, like a lot of good feedback and stuff. And we couldn't believe we did it. Like when we got home, we were like, holy shit, like this is crazy that we just did all that, like went all this way, set up in all these spots and actually made it happen. But I was only like live streaming to like there's probably like three people on Facebook that cared,
Yeah.
and I was like, how can we reach more people? I want to share my story with people. I want to like uplift other people. I want to like show them that things are possible. So I just like one day introduced myself on TikTok and I was like, I'm Anthony. I look pretty normal, right? And I was like, but I'm blind. And then I was like, showed all the things I do, like how I'm on Team USA and skateboard and play music, do all the motivational speak stuff. And it just said like follow along for more of my journey. And I went to sleep. I had like 10 followers and like maybe 100 views on the video.
Yeah.
Woke up the next day. It had like 50,000 views and like all these people following me and commenting and messaging like really positive stuff
Yeah.
and also asking a lot of questions. So I decided to just kind of keep going with it. Like we did like a 30-day plan of posting and you know showing people how I do things in my life despite the fact being blind and as simple as brushing my teeth to advances like this is how I skateboard and stuff. And then it just kept blowing up, really beyond my wildest imagination. Like we kept going with it, and videos kept going viral and stuff, and creating this like positive platform for people where people can talk and uh, ask any types of questions, and just like I sign off all my videos saying one love, and it's really like showing people that there's still love, and like one love is like, if you feel that, like if you feel the love, like pass it on to the next person type of thing, like a positive chain reaction. And it just kind of kept blowing up and blowing up, and then on all these other platforms too. And I think today we have like over like 2.5 million across all our platforms. So it's been really an awesome journey of getting to like help others, and reach as many people as possible, and show them like no matter their situation, anything's possible. Just it might look a little different than the next person, but things you're trying to achieve can be done. And it just it's really awesome, the feedback and stuff. And obviously with that comes a lot of hate too, so it's just weeding out the haters and trying to just keep picking people up and have them pick other people up. So it's just like as much positive energy as possible, like to combat all the negativity online and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And that one love, like that one love thing is I think that's one of your most identifiable it's become kind of like your thing. I mean, obviously it was Bob Marley's thing right first, but you kind of picked it up.
Yeah, yeah, it was even before Bob Marley, believe it or not. Like it was way back in the day. It goes further back, and then Bob Marley used it a lot, and then my friends and I would say it to each other a lot growing up, and I just kind of said it at the end of my video, and like people went crazy about it, so it
Yeah.
became like a thing. And now I'll be walking down the street and you just hear "One Love," and it's like a cool like "What's up" type of thing. And
Yeah.
it's been really positive.
Yeah.
It's better than saying like "F you."
Yeah, that's true. Like I told my friends, like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm having this guy Anthony on the podcast. Like I'm wicked excited, and they were like, oh, who is he? I was like, oh, you know, like the One Love guy. Like he's blind, he wrestles. Like he's just like their thing is like, oh, the One Love guy. Like
Exactly. A lot of people know me as the One Love guy, or
yeah,
the blind guy on TikTok, so it's cool.
yeah, definitely. I'm sure you've received. I mean, obviously there's a degree of negativity in anything online. I mean, but do you feel like your kind of message has been I mean obviously you feel like your message been more positive, but like how positive, how have you had like outreach, how much outreach have you had, like people reaching out to you thanking you? um
Yeah, a lot, man. Like I try to answer every single DM on Instagram. Uh, I get so many messages about like, even to as like extreme as, hey man, like I was literally this close to like giving up and like ending my life, and then I saw one of your videos, and then I couldn't stop watching your videos, and it just changed my outlook around 100%. And I have you to thank for that. And it's really humbling and powerful to like hear those types of things. And it kind of makes you never want to stop. People are always like, please don't ever stop. You're helping me in my life more than you know. And it's been really awesome.
yeah, and then obviously your most recent video on TikTok, you just found out that you're going to become a father. How exciting is that for you?
Oh man, it's I'm super excited. Having our first kid in August, and it's it's just amazing. Like I used to cry to my dad in college, saying like, I don't know if anyone will ever love me, if I'll ever have a family.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how I'll ever take care of a family, type of thing. And it's just wild to see. Even in your like darkest moments, when things seem like they're never gonna happen or get better, like it always will pass, like that darkness. And can't believe where I'm at today. And I'm gonna be a dad soon, and it's wild to even think about. Definitely nervous, excited, like scared, happy, like so many different emotions, but it's all positive. I'm really really excited. It's gonna be a learning experience, man.
Yeah, do you know what the gender is going to be yet, or no, still waiting?
No, we're not finding out.
Oh, there you go. So
Yeah,
you
a
can
little
sort of,
surprise.
yeah. maybe you'll get a son. I don't know. That's what
Yeah.
I'm hoping for a son someday.
I'm thinking it's a girl. That's what I've been thinking,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's the gut instinct.
I have a girl dog and then my wife, so I'm like, I'm just gonna have it's gonna be
It's
team
gonna
girl
be
over
girls, yeah. You're gonna be riding on your own, but
here.
it's
Yeah.
all right.
Gonna be a girl dad.
Yeah. Um, what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so you also have your own podcast that you've how consistent are you with um like your uploading of like your podcast?
Yeah, we upload every Sunday. It's with my other blind buddy who's a basically a pro skateboarder. His name's Dan the Mancina on every platform. He's awesome. He's like my brother. We upload every Sunday. We've been doing it a little over a year now. I think it's coming up on a year and a half, and it's awesome. We have like 72 episodes, I think, right now, and
Wow.
it's been really great. We got to interview a lot of cool people, and also just we do a lot of solo episodes where it's just me and him, and it's kind of like a big hang, just like joking around, talking about life, talking about things that obstacles we've encountered and how we get through them, and just we have a good time. People like call in, leave voicemails and stuff, so we mess around with that, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a mixture between like comedy, motivation, and just lifestyle stuff.
Definitely. Do you have any like advice for me? Because I'm just trying to. I'm out. So I'm 18 years old right now. I haven't even. I'm graduating high school this week.
Oh,
This is.
congrats.
Thank you. I just started this podcast probably about 3 months ago, and I've been a little bit inconsistent, on off. I mean, I got a lot of stuff going on in my life right now, so I'm trying to be more consistent with it. Do you have any advice for like the consistency of content? Because that's
Yeah,
something I kind of struggle with sometimes.
no, absolutely. I think it's awesome that you're starting it, especially at 18. It's like, dude, I wish I started a podcast at 18. I would be doing a lot better.
Yeah.
But it's like anything. It's really just the practice, and the more you do it, the better you get. And um, I recommend like listening to other podcasts to kind of get like inspired and learn how to interview and stuff. That's kind of what I did, and like I'm constantly listening to podcasts. And then with the consistency, it's like it really helps to bank episodes to like have a few in the bank so you can have a little like leeway of if you miss a week or two of getting an episode, you have something to put out. So it's about like stacking the content,
Yeah.
and it's just with anything, just keep doing it. Like, don't expect results right away either. Like, we have like a 5-year plan before we reevaluate everything, basically,
Yeah.
and you got to really want to do it. Just it's a great way, if not for anything else, to like learn from other people and get to have cool conversations, even just for yourself. And then just yeah, just consistency is key though. Like to be able to, this is when it comes out. It doesn't have to be an exact time, but like maybe a day, and whether it's once a month, twice a month, weekly, whatever it is, just have a schedule and just stick with it. And as time goes on, you'll run into different things, and you'll be like, all right, maybe this will be better, or just try different ideas and stuff like that. But I would definitely just give yourself time and continue to do it. Everything takes time.
Yeah.
It
Definitely.
took us like we recorded like 8 episodes before we even launched, and then we like idiots, we didn't even check any of the episodes, and they were all unusable because of sound and stuff. So it was
Yeah,
like,
I've had that issue too. I mean, I've had cameras die, mics cut
yeah,
out, like,
oh, it's crazy. So like all that stuff is just as you go, like learning, and it took us like maybe I'd say like 5 months before we really got like our setup and sound right, and but we just didn't stop, and you just continue to learn and grow from it, and then you learn stuff that you can use in life even. So it's really just it's good practice. It could really go somewhere too if you truly believe in it and don't give up. Like it could
yeah,
take years, but it's a great outlet.
yeah. And then you said you listen to a lot of podcasts. Do you have any like ones that like you're kind of like your favorite? I know Joe Rogan's probably like a general group. I don't
Yeah,
know if that's
Rogan's
your
great. I like a lot of comedy podcasts,
like
believe it or not.
Theo Vaughn, and Bert
I
Kreischer.
don't I don't listen to Theo's, but I love Theo. He's awesome. I actually just listened to him on Rogan. It was pretty funny.
Yeah,
But I listen to a lot of like. There's this guy Mark Normand.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, he has like one called Tuesdays with Stories with this guy Joe List, and then another one is We Might Be Drunk with him and Sam Morril. And then I listen to a lot of like like Tom Segura is pretty good. Um, you know, Bert Kreischer gets a little annoying, but he's funny.
I just saw that movie that he
No, I didn't see it. Did you?
yeah, it was exactly what you would expect it to be. It was like it was kind of just like a shit show, but it was there were some funny parts. It was funny.
Did you see it in theaters?
Yeah, I don't, and spent no wonder why I got to the theater and they wanted me to pay $21 for a movie ticket. I was like, no wonder why these movie theaters are going out of business. You could buy Netflix for 3 months for $21.
It's crazy. Were you there for like when he live streamed or whatever?
Like
I
ugh,
think he was gonna do something like the first day or something where he like live streams into the theater. And
oh shoot, no, I didn't.
oh, okay. No, that's sweet though. Yeah, I was interested in that film, but oh, a great one for listening to interviews is this guy Ryan Sickler called the Honeydew,
Okay,
and he's just an incredible interviewer. Like he finds angles that you're like, how did he think to ask that? And
yeah.
so it's really cool. I mean,
Is he
I
the
just
one that told the story about he had some cousin who was like schizophrenic or something?
yes,
And
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
that's I've
They
seen.
smoked
Yeah,
weed, and
yeah.
he like fainted, and they thought he was dead.
He thought he like saw Jesus out of his window or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. That one. Yep, that
Yeah,
guy. He's really funny. He's a great guy. I've gotten to be on that podcast twice. It's really fun time.
yeah. Yeah, that's the key thing that I remember. I've seen a few more things from him, but
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
no, I've been in that space. That space has definitely shaped me as a person. Like the podcast space, I don't know, it seems like it's such a like good community, like a strong community. And I've learned so much. I mean, I've even like started listening to like Lex Friedman and like Andrew
yeah.
Huberman and like
Huberman's great.
yeah, those guys like you get so many elements. You get a comedy element with like Theo Vaughn and Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura, and then you get this like this. You have Lex Friedman who will interview like wrestlers, MMA fighters. Joe Rogan will interview MMA fighters, and you have this like intelligence, intellect space of the podcast world. It's
Yeah, with
like
like
all
Huberman,
encompassing.
Dr. Drew. It's great. There's so much to learn, and then you realize how many of them are like connected with each other, going on each other's podcasts, helping them promote different things, and
Exactly.
it does become a real big community. So that is, and the longer you do it, the more people you meet, and then you make connections, and it's you know, it's just a really good it's a great outlet. It's great. It's like therapy, man. Like
Yeah.
getting to talk to people on a podcast. You get to talk about, like, for example, like we started out talking about sports, but then it could go anywhere. Like we're talking about comedy podcasts now. That's the beauty of podcasting is like it could go anywhere, and you know anything is don't just don't just like cut off a sidetrack because it could go somewhere really cool.
Yeah, definitely. See, I was talking to my friends. I was like, "Yeah, I'm having Anthony on like today," and they're like, "You didn't write questions?" I was like, "He seems like a cool guy. Like, it seems like we'll just be able to have a natural conversation. Like, I don't know. It feels unnatural when you write out a bunch of like when you write out 30 questions. Like,
No, 100%. I totally agree. I'll research if we're having someone on. Like we've had our buddy comedian on, this guy Dan Lamore. Like I'll research some stuff, but like these people know how to talk too, and it's like it's just a conversation. It
yeah,
doesn't have to be like
don't have to think about it too much. Like,
yeah,
I don't have
exactly.
to. It's not like I'm interviewing you for like I'm not on like a
Yeah,
freaking
you're not a news reporter.
yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to build connection. That's like the beauty of a podcast is that you're connecting. Like that's the beauty
Exactly.
of it now, and especially in today's day and age, like connection and communication is so important.
Exactly. I totally agree. Especially with like nowadays, like people don't even pick up the phone to call each other, just text and stuff. There's not a lot of like, actual conversation. So the more you can get, the better.
Yeah, and I think that's what the popularity of podcasts is kind of can be attributed to it.
Yeah, I'll have a headphone in my ear all day. Like my
Yeah,
wife will yell at me sometimes. She'll be like, "Are you listening to a podcast while I'm
yeah,
trying to talk to you?" So
yeah.
yeah, I'm addicted, but
Yeah,
it's
my
great.
big thing is door dashing with podcasts on the radio, and then like sometimes I'll door dash on my
Oh,
phone,
nice.
and they'll be like, why can't you like put some music on or something? I'm like, I don't know, I don't really gain anything from music like that right
Yeah,
now. Like I'm
yeah,
listening to music,
exactly.
I don't know.
I'm the same. I'm such a big music person, but I find myself listening to so much less music because I'm listening to so many podcasts.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you can gain so much like mentally and
Yeah,
spiritually from podcasts. And then I have one more, I would say one more question. So your
yeah.
wife, it seems like your wife has been such a integral part of like the brand that you've built. How has like her role in like first she started by just filming a video on the iPhone just for like a TikTok. How has her role kind of helped in like how has she helped you kind of maintain and build this brand?
Oh man, she's really like a backbone to a lot of it. I'm very much like a creative type person. She's very much like a business type person. Like she's very technical and um it really like we complement each other so well. Like I'll come up with an idea or she'll come up with an idea and then I'll kind of run through the scenes and she'll just capture everything and be able to edit and put it together and she's really good at like finding the right angles and the visual stuff that like I could care less about
Yeah,
because I can't see it. So she's amazing at that. She's amazing at like marketing. Uh, she's really like she films and edits everything and it's all done on an iPhone, believe it or not.
yeah,
And then uh, she also produces the podcast, so she does all the editing and the clips for the podcast. So and she also works a full-time job on top of all that. So she's really just incredible. She does all the reactive stuff like in the emails and stuff. So she's really I couldn't do it without her, and
yeah,
she's amazing.
definitely.
It's awesome to get to do it with your partner too.
Yeah. I gotta get there someday. I'm only 18, but
No, I
I
didn't
get there.
find my lady till I was like 22, 23. So you
Yeah.
got you got your whole life.
Yeah, it seems like you guys got something good going, and I'm very happy to hear that you're going to be a father. I'm sure that's very, very exciting for you guys.
Thanks, man. Yeah, you're gonna see a lot
Congratulations
of
on that.
you're gonna see a lot of content like I'm blind. This is how I change a diaper.
Yeah,
That's stuff coming up.
it's just like it's like when you have a baby, you just have like a free content machine. It's just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's like
Probably not why we did it, but it's
yeah,
definitely work.
it kind of works, you know.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Next chapter of being a dad and showing people like how I be a blind dad and
And
you know
that can help reach an entirely new audience now
it,
that you're like there are so many probably blind dads that are like, Jesus, like how do I be a father? Like how do I
no exactly and even I really hope that like even people that are fathers that maybe aren't in their kid's life too much because they think it's too hard that like if they see a blind person doing they're like what's my excuse type of thing so that would be really cool to affect families in that way and just uh yeah I'm just freaking stoked it's gonna be awesome
it's a whole new opportunity that you have to kind of like to make your mark in a different way that
yeah
you haven't been able to before, which is really, really cool.
absolutely
I don't think I have any more questions for you now, but I gotta get ready for my senior boat cruise tonight. I have
oh sick make sure you wear your boat shoes
oh yeah, I gotta wear my boat shoes. I got a nice shirt. I got a nice my shorts. I'll be ready up there.
that's awesome man enjoy that that's
Yeah,
sweet we didn't
absolutely.
have one of those so that's freaking cool.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't throw you guys out on the Jersey Shore, get you out on
Yeah. Where in Mass?
yeah, we're gonna go to Gloucester. I don't know if you know are familiar with like, but Gloucester is like it's like right off the shore near Boston.
Oh, sweet. Are
Yeah.
you do you live in Boston or
So I live
around?
in Tewksbury, so it's like it's probably 30 minutes outside of Boston,
Nice.
30
That's what's
minutes
up.
north of Boston,
Yeah,
right?
Boston's sweet.
Yeah. But you come in this area often or
Not too often, but pass through a lot. So we gotta link up when I'm coming through, and we'll get together and do one of these in person too.
yeah, definitely. How often are you in Florida? Probably not often, right?
Florida actually more than Boston. I go a lot of my skate competitions are in Florida.
Okay. So because I'm going to the University of Tampa next year.
Oh,
So
I'm
I'm
in
gonna
Tampa
be
quite a bit.
really
Yeah,
that works
so
out. So
yeah,
yeah.
that'll be sweet.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
huge sports market down there too. I'm really excited to get down there and kind of connect down there.
yeah, Tampa's sick. You'll have a lot of fun. It's a great area, and it's probably one of my more favorite parts of Florida. So
Yeah.
it's great weather, hot girls. You'll have fun.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to a lot of things down there.
Yeah, that's sweet, man.
Just
Enjoy
stay
and
grounded.
good luck on everything. Congrats on graduating too.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was probably one of my better podcasts. I'm finally starting to get the hang of it a little bit. So
No, you're doing great, man. Don't beat yourself up about anything. It's all just part of the journey. It's all learning, and it's gonna help you in life too. Just connecting with people on, outside of podcasting, being able to talk and just ask questions. It's great to it's great to talk to other when you're talking to people, like talk about them and their story. Not podcasting. I'm just talking in general because
yeah,
it makes people really excited to like talk about themselves anytime they
yeah,
can. Yes.
exactly, exactly.
You learn a lot of good skills. So good luck with everything. And if I could help in any way, please just let me know. And I'm stoked for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And once I get this edited, we'll talk about where I'm going to post it and stuff. And
Sounds good, man. One love, brother.
one love. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Later.
Bye bye.